From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Hello and welcome to Firstpost America, your global pit stop for the latest news and headlines from the United States and around the world. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We'll get you a roundup of all the day's top stories, but first, let's take a look at the headlines. Reports in Russian media state the Kremlin has sacked the commander-in-chief of its navy after losing a string of warships to Ukrainian attacks in the Black Sea. Portugal's center-right Democratic Alliance wins general election, shifting away from nearly 8 years of center-left government amid concerns over a rising far right. China raises concern and opposition to the trilateral security partnership between Australia, the United States, and the UK, saying that it harms regional stability. At least 13 people hospitalized and 50 more treated by medical crews after a technical problem on a LATAM flight from Sydney to Auckland that caused the plane to dip violently. And finally, at least 26 people have died and at least 11 still missing as torrential rains trigger flash floods and landslides in Indonesia's capital, Sumatra. We begin with the latest from the Caribbean nation of Haiti. Violence escalated in the capital of Port-au-Prince over the weekend, and former cop turned gang leader Jimmy Cherizier continues on his mission to dethrone Haiti's Prime Minister, Ariel Henry. Now the battle entered downtown Port-au-Prince, where Cherizier's gangs opened fire on the National Palace, and at least 2 civilians suffered gunshot wounds as security officials retaliated. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Henry is still in Puerto Rico, unable to return to his own country as the main airport remains unsafe. As the violence continues, the Caribbean nation has extended a state of emergency till April 3rd. Schools and offices have been shut down, public gatherings are banned, and the army has been deployed at full strength. The security crisis has led to a shortage of food and fuel, while aggravating civilians displaced internally.
I'm a mother of 6 and I have to feed them every day, give them food and water. But since I had to leave my home, I just sit here with nothing to cook. Life is very bad. I hold the kids in my arms, but I have nothing to give them.
My husband died. He left behind a house to live in with many children. The gangs forced me to leave my home. I've become a nomad along with my 3 children under my responsibility, and they're fatherless. I'm all over the streets. We've arrived here, but we cannot stay because there's no water and no bathrooms. If we get water, it is enough. I needed to bathe my children. There's no potable water. We're in misery.
Government institutions are completely shut down, and Haiti's banking system has collapsed, sending the nation into financial chaos.
Even when we can receive 50 or 30 US dollars from our families, we cannot get it. All offices are closed. Nothing is functioning. So there is no food and no water.
As the security situation continues to deteriorate, the United States used its military to airlift its non-essential embassy staff from Haiti. However, Washington has confirmed that America will not send in U.S. troops. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke to Kenyan President William Ruto regarding the crisis. Now, Kenya has signed an agreement with Haiti to deploy over 1,000 troops against the criminal gangs. As international pressure mounts, other Caribbean nations met in Jamaica to discuss the situation in Haiti. Leaders from the Caribbean community were accompanied by envoys from the United States, France, Canada, and the United Nations. Meanwhile, the Dominican Republic continues to keep its borders with Haiti closed in anticipation of an influx of refugees. With sporadic gunfire becoming a daily sight, Haitians are hoping that an intervention from the international community will bring some relief to their lives. And now to the war in Ukraine. Russia has reportedly deployed powerful aerial bombs that are decimating Ukrainian defenses. Putin's military has converted a basic Soviet-era weapon into a gliding bomb. These bombs can cause a crater up to 15 meters wide. The bombs, known as the Fab 1500, are the most powerful in a family of Soviet-era dumb bombs that are now being converted into potent missiles. It's essentially a 1.5-ton weapon, of which nearly half comprises high explosives. These bombs are delivered by fighter jets from a distance of some 60 to 70 kilometers, which is out of range of many Ukrainian air defenses. They're directed towards the target by a guidance system and pop-out wings. Now, experts say they offer a far more destructive strike option for many of Russia's jets. It also helps the pilots stay further away from enemy defenses. The Russian military is using these bombs to cause massive destruction before sending its troops to the territory for a ground operation. Recent videos from the front lines in the Donetsk region show the immense power of these bombs. The Fab 1500 hit thermal power plants, factories, and tower blocks from where Ukrainians coordinate their defenses. And around 250 of them were used around Avdiivka, which fell to Russian troops in February. In January, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu was also seen touring a defense manufacturing plant. Now, during his visit, he was shown the wraparound wings developed for the bomb. Ukrainian forces on the front lines, especially in Donetsk, are exposed to a daily blitz of Russian airstrikes, sometimes over 100 each day. Meanwhile, Ukrainians rejected and expressed outrage over Pope Francis' remarks. The pontiff has called on Ukraine to negotiate with Russia and have the courage to raise the white flag to end the war.
It is one interpretation. It's true. But I think that the strongest one is the one who looks at the situation, thinks about the people, and has the courage of the white flag, of negotiating. And today, you can negotiate with the help of some international powers. The word negotiate is a courageous word. When you see that you are defeated, when things are not going well, you have to have the courage to negotiate. One may feel shame, but how many dead will it end up with? And it will end even worse. Negotiate in time. Find a country that can be a mediator.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky dismissed the Pope's call for talks with Russia as virtual mediation from a distance. Now, Zelensky did not directly refer to Pope Francis, but said that the Pope's ideas had nothing to do with efforts by religious figures in Ukraine to help the country.
When the Russian evil started this war on February 24, all Ukrainians stood up to defense. All Christians, Muslims, Jews, everyone. I thank every Ukrainian chaplain who is with the army, in the defense forces, on the front line, defending life and humanity. They support us with prayer, with talk, and with deeds. This is what the church with the people is, not the 2,500 kilometers away, somewhere to mediate virtually between someone who wants to live and someone who wants to destroy you.
Ukraine's foreign minister also responded to the Pope's comments and said Kyiv will never surrender. He also asked the Pope to stand on the side of good and not put the opposing sides on the same footing. And from Europe to the Middle East, where now Israel has been expanding its offensive against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The Biden administration is becoming increasingly frustrated with the Netanyahu government, and the Israeli prime minister, too, has both turned a deaf ear and a blind eye to Washington's pleas. In the latest, Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to defy President Biden's red line on Rafah. He says he intends to press ahead with an invasion of the city. Now, earlier, U.S. President Joe Biden had warned the Netanyahu government against such an offensive, saying that he could not accept 30,000 more dead Palestinians. Netanyahu also rejected President Biden's comment that his approach to the war in Gaza is hurting Israel more than helping Israel. This has been the latest in escalation in the dispute between the two world leaders. The United Nations and aid agencies have warned that an attack on Rafah on the border with Egypt would result in widespread civilian casualties and would be a humanitarian catastrophe. Rafah on the Egypt border currently houses millions of displaced Palestinians. And the Muslim holy month of Ramadan begins today with no truce in sight. Now, Hamas blamed Israel for the failure of reaching a truce by not committing to clear guarantees during negotiations. Hamas stuck to 5 key conditions during talks, which were a total ceasefire and end to the war, a full withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, return of the displaced Gazans to their homes, and end to the Israeli siege and securing humanitarian and reconstruction aid, and a prisoner hostage swap deal.
Today, I say that if we receive from the brothers, the mediators, a clear position from the occupation regarding its commitment to withdrawal, cessation of aggression, and the return of refugees, we are ready to proceed with completing the stage of this agreement. We will also express, as we have said before, flexibility regarding the issue of exchange and prisoners. Until now, the enemy has been evading giving clear assurances and commitments, especially regarding the ceasefire, meaning the cessation of aggressive warfare on the Gaza Strip. This means they want their prisoners to return and then resume the war on our people and our enclave.
Aid groups say only a fraction of supplies required to meet basic needs have been allowed into Gaza.
I think this Ramzan will add to the tragedies of the Palestinian people, a new tragedy and a new torment, because the children or the elderly who fast need to eat when they break their fast, which is not available financially or otherwise. The situation is very difficult.
I came here to buy, but I can't find anything to buy. There's nothing. There are no dates or milk or anything. One can't find anything for their children. How are we supposed to have suhoor, the meal before the fast starts at dawn? How are we supposed to have iftar, the meal that breaks the fast, with canned goods?
Now, a Spanish charity ship with 200 tons of food aid to alleviate starvation has remained docked in Cyprus due to technical difficulties. Israel said the aid will be allowed into Gaza after it undergoes a full inspection by its forces.
Based on the instructions of the Defense Minister and together with our partners in the United States and the American Central Command, we are cooperating the establishment of a temporary floating naval dock intended to bring humanitarian aid into Gaza after it undergoes full Israeli inspection. This mission is a cooperation between Israeli Army and United States Central Command. We will distribute the equipment through international organizations to populations in need.
Meanwhile, fighting continues to rage between Israeli forces and Hamas fighters. In its latest operational update, Israel's military claims it struck terrorist operatives who endangered their forces in central Gaza. The Israeli army claims to have eliminated 15 terrorists in the battle. Already over 31,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there are at least 13,000 terrorists who were among the Palestinians killed. Now, Hamas has dismissed Israel's definition of what it calls terrorists. It says it's a manipulation and an attempt to portray what it calls a fake victory. And speaking of manipulation, we move on to the United Kingdom, where a latest picture of the Princess of Wales has led to a royal embarrassment. In a statement, Princess Catherine apologized after the Kensington Palace released an edited photograph of her with her children. But the statement from Kate came too late as the damage was already done. By then, agencies from around the world had recalled the picture, saying it was altered and manipulated. On social media, the floodgates were open as the rumor mill, including Sherlock Holmes-level mysteries and conspiracy theories, spread like wildfire. Our next report takes you inside.
A smiling Princess of Wales, sitting on a garden chair, dressed in jeans, a sweater and a jacket, and surrounded by her 3 laughing children, George, Charlotte and Louis. What better way to mark Mother's Day in the United Kingdom? Britain's Princess Catherine's picture-perfect moment was released by the Kensington Palace after an unusually long public absence. But was it really that perfect? A picture that could have put all speculations around the princess to rest has instead ignited a scandal. This was the first official photograph of the Princess of Wales to be released after her abdominal surgery 2 months ago. She hasn't been seen in public since then, but the biggest picture agencies across the world have recalled the photograph. There have been claims that the photograph of the princess and her kids is manipulated. A close examination of the published photo shows that Princess Charlotte's left hand is misaligned with the sleeve of her cardigan. This cast doubt on the authenticity of the image. Hours later, Princess Catherine issued an apology on social media. She admitted to editing the photograph. She said, like many amateur photographers, she occasionally experiments with editing. The 42-year-old princess underwent a planned abdominal surgery in January this year. Kensington Palace had previously said it was not cancer-related and that Catherine wished her personal medical information to remain private. Details of the princess's condition have not been revealed since then. She was expected to be recuperating until around Easter and has been out of the public eye recovering. In fact, she was last photographed in public during a Christmas Day walk in Sandringham, East England. Last week, a paparazzi photograph emerged of Kate with her mother Carol Middleton in a car, with Kate in the passenger seat wearing huge sunglasses near the Windsor Castle. The blurred photo did little to assuage public concern about her welfare, and the latest one has only created a fertile breeding ground for conspiracy theories. Social media has been flooded with them. Some theorists speculate that there's something terribly wrong with Kate's health. Perhaps she was in an induced coma or was in real danger of dying. There's also rumor mongering, with some saying her marriage to William was on the rocks and she was in hiding. And then there are some who think they've donned the Sherlock Holmes hat perfectly well. They claim she's perhaps been killed and will be replaced by a body double. But not all theories around Kate are this murky. There are jokes too. Some users say Kate is probably waiting for bad bangs to grow out or to recover from plastic surgery. The palace, however, has maintained silence. They just issued one statement amid all rumors, saying that Kate continues to be doing well. Well, while most of these conspiracy theories may be silly, they do surround one fact, that Kate Middleton, a reliable pillar of the British royal family, has been long missing. For years, the Princess of Wales has showed up smiling at all public events. Even when the royal drama was high, she appeared with an air of determined normalcy. But her disappearance is certainly something out of the ordinary.
And finally, the 96th edition of the Academy Awards ended with a bang. Biographical drama Oppenheimer won 7 Oscars. Hollywood's most exciting night was celebrated by fans worldwide. The only pushback came from billionaire Elon Musk. He took to his social media platform X to call the Oscars a woke contest. Now, was this a ploy to generate more engagement, or does Musk truly believe the Oscars has become too politicized? Our next report explains.
The Academy Awards, or the Oscars, are one of the biggest celebrations of the film industry. It's one of the oldest awards ceremonies in the world of entertainment. And for anyone who wants to make their name in film, winning an Oscar is the ultimate glory. But not if you're Elon Musk. For Musk, the Oscars are nothing but a woke contest. He took to social media platform X to opine about the awards. Musk wrote, and I quote, "Winning an Oscar now just means you won the woke contest." But his rant didn't end there. He continued to say, when an award is diluted, everyone knows, including those who receive it, and it no longer commands respect. What's Musk without a controversy? The internet was instantly up in arms. Some netizens were divided, but most were united, and it was against the billionaire. Some ex-users said that Musk was just bitter that he would never win an Oscar, while others wrote that money can't buy everything. Some even questioned if Musk knew what he was writing about. One of the most successful films this year has been Oppenheimer, and netizens were quick to ask Musk if he thought the movie about the atomic bomb was also considered woke. Of course, Musk did not specify what exactly he meant by woke, and it looks like he never will. Because for Musk, the Oscars were another opportunity to get the spotlight and increase engagement on his social media platform. And that's exactly what he has achieved. His posts were viewed by over 24 million people, and #Oscars trended throughout the night with over 2.5 million posts due to the banter. It was a clear win for Musk's social media platform. Maybe it was a shoddy attempt at marketing, but it got the job done. However, Musk's opinions didn't dampen the Academy Awards. Late-night show host Jimmy Kimmel hosted the 96th Annual Academy Awards. Davine Joy Randolph won the first Oscar of the night. She won the Best Supporting Actress for her performance as a school cafeteria manager in The Holdovers. However, the most awards went to Oppenheimer. The film won 7 Oscars, including Best Picture. Christopher Nolan bagged the award for the Best Director, and for the very first time, Robert Downey Jr. won an Oscar for his supporting role in Oppenheimer. His co-star Cillian Murphy won the Best Actor, while Emma Stone won Best Actress for her performance in Poor Things. Barbie won the Oscar for the Best Original Song, What Was I Made For, by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell. And there were some moments that just stole the show. Ryan Gosling's performance of I'm Just Ken from Barbie was one for the nights. The actor completely impressed everyone with his pink suit. There was also a streaker during the ceremony, except it was all staged. Wrestler and actor John Cena appeared on stage entirely unclothed, holding an envelope strategically. The envelope had the name of the Oscar winner for Best Costume Design, which went to the film Poor Things. But the real darling in the room was Messi. No, not the football legend, but the 4-legged furball. Messi, the black and white border collie, was nominated for supporting actor. And though he didn't win an Oscar for himself, he surely won everyone's hearts. And world over, people celebrated the night. It looks like despite Musk's jabs, the Oscars were a splendid success.
That's all we have time for today. We thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.
The U.S. military has airlifted non-essential embassy personnel from Haiti. Washington has also deployed additional forces to bolster the security of the embassy.